Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Valerie Z, the founder of Spiritual Cardio, a 10-week group coaching program that teaches women how to make peace with their inner truth and practice self-love, where we heal in community by interrogating our inner demons until they lose power over us. I'm bringing you the powerful spiritual practices that helped birth my transformation because I want the same for you. I'm going to teach you how to build a love story with yourself and your inner child. So let's go. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to episode 2 of Spiritual Cardio. Honestly, you guys, I can't believe I started a podcast. If somebody would have told me a year or 2 or 3 ago that I was going to be starting a podcast, I wouldn't have believed them. But it's been an amazing journey, just overcoming so much to get here. But I didn't know starting a podcast was going to be so much work. There's a lot of preparation that goes on the back end, but it's absolutely worth it. I'm loving it. I want to produce content that's meaningful and effective because I'm hoping to inspire you to do your inner work. It truly is a magical journey to align with your soul by making peace with your story, your past, just your entire existence. It's so worth it. It's work, but you end up creating the life you want. And these stories inside of us aren't the end-all be-all. We're not doomed if we choose not to be. We've been conditioned to feel hopeless and helpless, but we can break through those barriers. It all happens at the right time. And if you're listening to this, this is your time. Maybe you're questioning how you're living your life. Maybe you're starting to notice that the habits you created are protection, but they end up hurting you. Maybe you're falling for people who can't love you because, on a deeper level, you're lacking love for yourself. I've been there. And those realizations opened me up to healing all of that. And it's okay to cry it out because tears are cleansing, just as a clear sky after a storm. I know that sounds cliche, but it's true. You have to feel it all. That's how you process it. The only way out is through. One of the most important parts of inner work is self-inquiry. So I ask you, are you living a life that reflects self-love? Do you fear going inward? Self-inquiry is the start of a journey back into the core of your heart, beyond the painful memories we've been suppressing. It's finally recognizing that what's inside must be addressed. It's finally listening to your inner voice. It's accepting that beneath everything you've been doing to cope, there's an inner child that's been silenced and forgotten. And your greatness awakens when you begin making peace with your inner child. And when you start reflecting, you realize she's got so much to say. And drowning her will never make her go away. Drowning her in your vices only keeps you stuck in your patterns. And so self-inquiry is asking question after question that is going to lead you to your past. You know, maybe you didn't have childhood trauma, which is rare, but there's things in your past that you're not proud of and maybe you haven't forgiven yourself for. If that's the case, this is for you too. Or maybe you're drinking too much. Maybe you're doing drugs, working too much, eating or shopping to try and numb something. Maybe you're going from toxic relationship into the arms of another toxic relationship. The question to ask yourself is, Are you doing something to help you forget a void in your heart? For me, it was many things, but in my 30s, it stopped working. I started looking at what was driving the behavior. And it was painful to realize that I was hurting myself. I was drinking way too much, too often. And blacking out became a dangerous game of Russian roulette. If you're a blackout drinker, you can relate to this. That frantic feeling in your body as soon as you open your eyes to reveal where you ended up. And then your attention turns to looking for your purse and your phone. And then there's that desperate feeling of hoping you didn't make a fool of yourself the night before. I got tired of living that way. And the morning shame just became too agonizing to ignore. Drinking was the primary way of coping for me. And it was the common denominator to feeling shame often. And that feeling of shame just felt eerily familiar to me. It was apparent that my drunken episodes were reinforcing childhood trauma. So I started asking myself some serious questions. And at the time I didn't know, but they were questions that would change my life. I started asking myself questions like, why do I feel the need to drink so much? Well, I loved getting drunk. And then, why do you love getting drunk? Well, because I love escaping reality. I love escaping my reality. What do you need to escape from? Me. The answer was me. I needed to escape me. And here's where you go deep. I mean, like deep, deep. Where you come face to face with the void. And so for me, those questions led me to remembering the hatred I had for a little girl that I dissociated from decades prior. I'd have flashbacks of her when I was in high school, and I'd become filled with rage and disgust. And I didn't realize that that little girl was me until I was 32 in therapy, trying to heal my void. Of course, it's frightening to go there. It was frightening for me. But I couldn't lie to myself anymore. In life, we arrive at a crossroad, and we have to ask ourselves some serious questions. Is it more painful to ignore the symptoms of self-destruction, or is it more painful to look within to start the healing journey? For me, it was too painful to continue ignoring the symptoms. I realized that our core wounds are what drives our present behavior. And so self-inquiry can be terrifying. Identifying core wounds and working on them opens them up. But it opens them up so that they can become scabs, so that you can live with joy and peace in your heart. And maybe you're not self-destructing, and that's great if you're not. But I want this episode to have value for you too. So think of self-inquiry this way. Are you in some way hurting yourself or others because you choose to avoid something within you that's really uncomfortable? I was in the fight of my life. I was fighting an incessant desire to drink. It was an addiction to escaping my reality. I was confronting those inner demons I pretended weren't there, or at times thought weren't a big deal because we all have them, right? But the thing is, pretending they're not a big deal gives us permission to keep inadvertently hurting ourselves or others. So ultimately, it was me against me because the person who abused me was long gone. And it was bittersweet to realize that I became my abuser from a very young age. But here's the silver lining. In that realization, I had the opportunity to heal myself from that moment forward. I was presented with my crossroad, and I chose to sift through the mud to become who I am today. So I ask you, are you avoiding or suppressing some inner truth? I know this can be hard to believe, but when you start moving towards it, it loses its power because it's no longer in control of you. You're in control of healing it. Your inner truth is not trying to hurt you. It's there to teach you something profound about you. It's there to help you build your character. It's there to help you become more self-aware of your triggers. Your inner child is not the enemy. No one is. The relationship you cultivate with yourself is the most important relationship in this life because it sets the tone for every other relationship. And healing the relationship with your inner child means everything. You get to write your story from this moment forward. And it's not a new chapter. You're writing a new book because this time you control the narrative and your life becomes a masterpiece you've created. From a place of healing, from a place of peace. And when we tap into our truth, I know we're diving into the unknown. I did it and I found my inner child, but I didn't know I was looking for her. And when I finally listened to what she had to say, her truth hurt me beyond words. And then slowly, small miracles started happening. I became one with her, and together we discovered our power. Hey ladies, are you curious about doing your inner work but don't know where to start? Do you distract yourself from inner discomfort? Are you afraid of being alone with yourself? If so, then Spiritual Cardio Group Coaching may be for you. At Spiritual Cardio, we heal in community, where we can be vulnerable and raw. Because when one woman speaks her truth, she begins to heal, and she opens the door for another woman to speak hers. Head over to valeriezapeta.com to learn more and register for an upcoming session. You can also read the powerful testimonials from previous clients. And if you're not quite ready to do your inner work, I invite you to subscribe to my newsletter. Every week I'll send you some nuggets of wisdom to help you along your journey. Now back to the show. And had I not done that, I wouldn't have discovered the pulse behind my need to escape. The truth of feeling shame before knowing how to read, of internalizing fear, guilt, and rage when I was 5, of hating her for many years. It was a long road to find her. And honestly, it was an uphill mission to loving her. But I don't for a second regret doing the work to becoming one with her, because it drew me closer to God. God in my heart. We all have God in our heart. She taught me compassion because I finally saw her in the mirror. Her story brought me to my knees and then set me free. So I ask you, how are you lacking compassion for yourself? If you saw a child hurting, would you have compassion for them? We all have that little child inside of us. Hiding from her doesn't work. It drives us to hurt ourselves and maybe those around us too. All it takes is to finally acknowledge her. She holds the key to your healing. And her truth is all that matters, because until you make peace with it, you'll always be at war with it. You'll be driven to numb, deflect, rage, deceive, to something other than love, joy, and peace. I'm not saying life is perfect when you heal, because life still throws us curveballs, let's be real. But we bounce back quicker. We're more self-aware. We're resilient. And we're able to check our ego, take accountability for our actions, and start again. So I want you to take a moment and picture yourself as a child, laughing, running, smiling, playing, crying. Just take a moment and picture your innocence and open the door to her. Ask her to speak to you. Invite her to come closer. What painful things does she have to say? Listen intently without a shield. Start just by listening to her and comforting her. She holds your peace, your joy, and your destiny. She will complete you. The best version of you lies beyond her agony. And once you validate and process her story, your life changes. A powerful spiritual practice is to write everything in a journal. What happened? Who was there? The emotions, all of it. Everything that's been bottled up needs to be expressed. You've got to export the story or stories out of your body. You've got to let it vent out. Excavate it through the practice of paper, pen, and body. Journaling helps identify pain points and patterns. And as you release, more comes up. It's the stuff we've been hiding that comes to the surface. And really, it's been waiting to be released. Kind of like a volcano waiting to erupt. You don't have to be a writer to journal, and you don't have to write in complete sentences. You can start off with bullet points and branch off from there if you're more comfortable with that. If journaling isn't your thing, release it through any form of art. Journaling has been my saving grace. It's such a powerful healing tool. To acknowledge the truth is to begin healing it. Confronting our deepest insecurities and painful memories makes us stronger and wiser. And acknowledgement doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're ready to heal. It means you're ready to evolve and you're ready to do things differently, because the old way of doing things just isn't working anymore. Instead of suppressing it, the only way out for good is to feel it, validate it, and release it. You can pray to your higher power to touch your heart every single day to give you strength. And if you're apprehensive about prayer, maybe your prayer will go like this. God, if your will is for me to heal, show me you're real. Bless me with healing. Amen. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out prayer. Just have faith. And remember, this is a journey. There's no shortcuts for anyone. You're planting seeds. And as the days, weeks, and months pass, pay attention to your inner world. The void is going to start feeling a little less heavy. Pay attention to how your life is changing and tiny miracles that come your way. There's small miracles and big miracles waiting for you on the other side of this work. It doesn't need to be a catastrophic event that awakens you. Moving towards the best version of you will happen by processing the emotions you've buried. You hold the key to opening the door. Honesty opens the door. Vulnerability opens that door. Crying and laughter open it too. I'll leave you with this. We've been conditioned to resist in order to survive, but living in resistance blocks our energy. We can't personally evolve if we're at war with ourselves. And in order to end that war, we have to identify its roots. So processing and releasing the buried pain within, it liberates stuck energy and it promotes clarity. And in gaining clarity, you have the opportunity to reorganize your life's narrative, aka write your life's new book. In understanding your darkness, you begin to heal, you begin to grow, and give yourself the love and compassion you so rightly deserve. God can't bring miracles into your life with an old mindset. In doing this work, we're getting unstuck and inviting miracles in. That's all I have for this episode. I'll be dropping an episode bi-weekly for now. If you want to hear from me between episodes, sign up for my newsletter at valeriezapeda.com. If you want to support my work, share this episode with a friend, like, and subscribe to the show. This is Valerie Z. I'll see you guys next time. Hey, thank you for showing up and spending some time with me. If you loved this episode, please make sure to subscribe. And for exclusive content, you can sign up for my newsletter at valeriezapeda.com. I'll see you guys at the next show.